Welcome to another episode of WTF Cinema.
Hi everyone. I promised I'd go mainstream today, and here it is. Fantastic Four. Now, for the 1000th time, here's this particular disclaimer. I don't read superhero comics. I can't tell you the areas where this film failed in terms of making the transition from one medium to another. I can't tell you where it's not being faithful. I can't tell you where they screwed up your favorite character. I have to judge this film entirely on its own merits as a film. But don't worry, that still provides me with plenty of material. Buckle up. It's gonna be a rough one. We open with Mr. Fantastic and a Thing visiting Dr. Doom pre-accident to hit him up for some cash. I can already tell this is going to be a tale of rip-roaring adventure. So with some pretty heavy strings attached, Dr. Doom agrees to fund Mr. Fantastic's research into super awesome space clouds. I can't imagine this is going to end badly for anybody. So we begin assembling our crew for this space research exploration adventure. The Thing very politely asks if he can pilot the space shuttle, because apparently that's kind of his thing, and he's informed that they already have a pilot. That's right, multi-billion-dollar research, and they've decided they want this guy piloting the vessel. And can you blame them? I mean, by comparison to this guy, the Thing just seems older, more experienced, calmer, reliable. And what kind of sense does it make to waste all your investment dollars on something like that?
Digital camera, $254. Memory stick, $59. The look on your hard-ass former CO's face when he finds out he's your junior officer. Priceless.
We're really so hard up for good material in writing this film that we're just stealing from commercials? Really? And Mr. Fantastic decides to let his nerd flag fly by showing that he's not at all interested in Jessica Alba's cleavage. Instead, he's fascinated with the material that it's wrapped in. Okay. I understand that his character is supposed to be a little oblivious and very science-focused, but there's got to be a way to get that across without just making him look flat-out gay. I mean, first of all, her cleavage display is absolutely ridiculous, because it's never that pronounced again throughout the rest of the movie. They did it just to establish this joke that, see, you think he's looking at boobies, but he's not. Alright, I've made this joke several times in my life, and I might as well make it here. It is my personal belief that the Fantastic Four is in fact the gayest superhero team ever. We have Mr. Fantastic, who can stretch all parts of his anatomy to any shape or size. Okay, maybe that's not so gay in itself. But then we've got the Thing, who's always hard, and we have a guy who's literally flaming. The only chick in the group has the ability to not be there. Yeah. Never claimed it was a particularly good joke, but I figured I'd throw it in for the sake of completeness. Let's move on to ripping apart the movie's bad jokes as opposed to my own. Actually, I'm a little unclear as to what the Thing is supposed to be doing during these early segments. He's not a scientist. He's not piloting the vessel. I get that him and Mr. Fantastic are old friends. But Mr. Fantastic is bankrupt. We've learned this. He has no money. So he can't afford to just keep his buddy on the payroll because there's not a payroll anymore. What's his job? What's his purpose? Why is he there? He doesn't actually have any job duties or ability to do them in a science research vessel. Do you really just pay the guy to, like, move your furniture or what? So while we wait for the super awesome space cloud, we spend a bit of time doing some character development. I'm all for character development. It's important for characters to be developed. That's how you care about them, is you learn about them. The problem is these characters are so bland and predictable. You don't need to develop them. I know exactly who they are. They're two-dimensional cardboard cutout characters. Alright? A couple of words and you've got them flat out described. I don't even know why we're wasting time developing these bland, boring characters when you're a mainstream Hollywood film. It should be explosions and action. The super awesome space cloud surprises them, though, and arrives 7 hours early. We're told this is because of solar winds accelerating it. Except, we actually see it moving through space, and we see it moving parallel to the sun. I'm not a scientist. I will admit that first and foremost. But it is my profound belief that solar winds emanate from the sun. It is the effect of the sun's rays that creates solar winds. So for the solar winds to act on something, that pushes it away from the sun. It doesn't speed it up parallel to the sun. Well, luckily our main characters aren't scientists, so I guess the science doesn't matter. Oh wait, they are. Also, they make a really big deal about the super awesome space cloud being deadly. They can't let it touch them or they'll die. Except, Mr. Fantastic wants to research the super awesome space cloud because it's his belief that a similar super awesome space cloud once caused life on Earth in the first place. It's super deadly, but it creates life. And even that's not ridiculous enough, because when they get hit by the super awesome space cloud, as you know they must, they don't die. They develop superpowers. So it's not deadly. It gave them superpowers. So that's twice that Mr. Fantastic, one of the greatest scientific minds in the world, is wrong in like 10 minutes. A, the solar winds traveling sideways, and he still miscalculated them. And B, the super awesome space cloud isn't deadly. It's superhero causing. This guy is supposed to be the brightest mind alive, and he can't get a single thing right? So while we wait on them to develop their powers, there's a lot more yakety-yakety talking about feelings and emotions, and I should care. And I should be promoting this in a movie. I really should. But you need better writing to pull it off. These characters are bland. And the more you develop bland, you know what you get? More bland. Bland plus. Except plus implies something more. And in this case, it's more bland. The Human Torch gets his flaming abilities while skiing. Victor finds out the super awesome space cloud gave him powers too. He's turning into metal and has power over electricity. Invisible Girl goes invisible and Mr. Fantastic goes stretchy at about the same time. Now, we're just waiting on... Wait a second. We can clearly see he's not plugged into any of those devices. He went and he laid down on the bed and all the devices are reading him wirelessly and they're all going nuts. There's no cords going on to him. There's nothing attached to him at all. How are those things reading any vital signatures at all? I guess it just looks cool for the transformation sequence. Alright. Now we get the Thing's touching reunion with his girlfriend. His girlfriend who apparently enjoys walking around in her underwear in the middle of a giant city. As all good women do. It's me. She decides that she can't bear with the way that the Thing looks now. She just can't handle it and she runs away screaming. This turns the Thing into our tragic figure for the movie because he's not accepted for the way he looks because he looks monstrous. I think what's really tragic here is his choice in women. Because they established they've been together for a long time, they promised to love each other no matter what. He comes back from space, he'd undergone this horrible accident, and now he looks like this. He's the same guy. He's still able to talk to her, but she wigs out, runs away screaming that he's a monster. Now maybe you'll argue it's the initial shock. And she's not just a horrible, horrible person for not even feeling sympathy. Like, oh my god, are you okay? Does it hurt? Anything like that? No, just, monster, run, scream, even though she knows it's him. Maybe it's the shock. So we'll give her some time to cool down, alright? We'll come back to her in a minute. The Thing then provides our first act of heroism in the movie. where he prevents this guy from getting run over by causing the biggest pileup ever. Look at this thing. Look at the carnage. You can't tell me that nobody got hurt during that. And I mean seriously hurt. I wouldn't be surprised if there are people dying in there. Look at that. You simply can't put that many lives in danger to save the one guy.
The needs of the many outweigh
the needs of the few.
Now, by this point, a huge crowd has gathered around the thing's carnage wreck that he's caused. And our other heroes are there. And they tell the Invisible Woman she's got to go invisible in order to get through the crowd and get to him. She's the only one who can do it. So she starts stripping down and turning invisible. Being invisible doesn't help you get through a crowd. In fact, in many ways, it would make getting through a crowd harder because people couldn't see you to get out of their way. You know what could get you through this crowd is if you, flew overhead while you were aflame. Or possibly if you went all super stretchy over the top of the crowd. This could get you through the crowd. And don't you dare, don't even think about being, well, Jeff, they don't want to show off their powers to the public. She's turning invisible and stripping down naked in front of people. You even see extras reacting to the fact that she's turning invisible. She does it in front of people without a problem, so why can't they? Also, these people seem rather nonplussed about the fact that this chick is turning invisible in front of them. The only reaction they really have is, Jessica Alba's getting naked. Look, she's in her underwear. Chick's turning invisible in front of you. You have no reaction to that? I've got to tell you, if I saw somebody turn translucent in front of my eyes, I'd have a frickin' reaction. So while the Invisible Woman shoves her way through the crowd, our other two heroes decide to leave and go the other way. Only the next time we see them, all three of them are at the other side of the crowd together. They said she was the only one who could do it, and she did it, and then they did it. Only they did it by going the wrong way. What was the point of all of that? I guess we had to have a Jessica Alba in her underwear scene. But could you have written one that made sense? Could you have built it up in a way that made... Only you can do this thing that actually you'd have the hardest time doing, and that we're gonna do, except we can't, but we are. Come on! This is simple writing! This is literally a character walking down the street! Can we not get this right?
Thank you for watching WTF Cinema. Until next time, what the f***, man?